Hey y'all, welcome back to Hopeful and Wholesome. I'm your host, Hope Pedraza, and I've got another episode about energy today, and we're talking about the quantum body. So, have you ever wondered why some people seem to manifest success or health or happiness just like out of thin air, completely effortlessly, while other people feel stuck no matter what they do? You see your neighbor who has struggled their whole life, and just everything has been a struggle. The answer, really, lies in this concept that bridges science and energy and consciousness, and it's called the quantum field. And this is where quantum mechanics and quantum physics, all of this plays a part. So today I want to dive into how your energy, your thoughts, your emotions, your vibration, how all of this interacts in the quantum field and how it shapes your reality on this molecular level, right? This isn't just woo stuff. While on first glance and first listen, you're like, this is a woo episode, I'm going to skip over this one. I'm backing it up with science. You know me. You know I love to put the science and the woo together. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put it together with science, talk about some personal experiences, and then give you some actionable tools that you can take with you and implement right away. So this episode really isn't about like convincing you into believing the woo, because it's, well, again, it's not, because there's going to be science here for those of you who like empirical data. But it really is about empowering you to recognize that you're not a passive bystander in your life. You're not. You are the creator, and it all begins with your energy. You create your own life, and it starts with your energy. So let's start with the science part. I know that a lot of you might be skeptical about talking about this and how the energy works, and thinking that this is like manifestation is just like wishful thinking. But let's talk about quantum physics in really as simple terms as I can give you without being too out there. So in quantum physics, wave particle duality shows that particles like electrons can exist as both waves and particles. They change their state depending on whether they're being observed. This is the cool part. And there's so many videos you can send. You can literally just type this in YouTube, and you can see people talking on this and how they observe it. It's really cool. But they change their state depending on whether they're being observed. So this means that our observation, our attention, your attention, has an influence on the behavior of matter at this fundamental level. It's just that, to me, that's mind blowing. And again, you can watch this in action. You can watch videos of this in action, how particles react when they're being watched and not. So at the core, everything is energy. Even what looks solid, everything that's solid, like your body, the chair I'm sitting in, the desk I have here, like all of this is made up of vibrating atoms. Nikola Tesla said, if you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. And if you want to know more, I know I talk about Joe Dispenza all the time, but I can't help myself. But if you go read and look at any of Dr. Joe Dispenza's books, he is so great at tying in the science to all of this. But energy, frequency, and vibration, Nikola Tesla is one of the smartest minds in history and invented some really crazy, amazing things. So I feel like this is somebody whose word holds some weight. So there's some science here that I want to tell you about those. So there's the work of Dr. David Hawkins, the map of consciousness. So he measured emotional energy vibration on a scale from 1 to 1,000. And so, for example, shame. This is like emotions, and you can look. There's a I can't think of the name of it, but there's like a little triangle. It's like a funnel. It's an image. If you look for a triangle or funnel of emotions, and it tells you what the emotions are on this scale, on a vibrational scale. So shame, for example, vibrates at 20, one of the lowest frequencies. 20 shame is one of the lowest frequencies, and love vibrates at 500. The higher your frequency, the more aligned you are with positive experiences and abundance, right? And so the way you feel is what I'm saying here. The way your emotions determines your vibrational state, your frequency, right? So here's some more science to back this up. There's a 2016 study in the Frontiers of Psychology that showed that positive emotions like gratitude activate the parasympathetic nervous system. Parasympathetic, this is your rest and digest state of your nervous system, which means when you are rest and digest, literally what it sounds like, your body is repairing, right? This improves health and well-being because now our body is resting and digesting. This is how it repairs itself. So just shifting into a different emotional state and feeling an emotion like gratitude can affect your overall health and well-being. And there's so many studies on mindfulness practices, on gratitude journal, gratitude practices, whatever it looks like, have literally been shown to change your brain's structure, increases the density of gray matter in areas linked to emotional regulation and empathy. There's so many studies on this. Gratitude can literally change your brain. And going back to Dr. Joe Dispenza, if you read any of his books, you can watch some of his stuff on YouTube. If you have Gaia TV, I mean, there's so many things on Gaia that you can watch about him, but he measures all of this in real time with people that are at his workshops with him. He has these like 2 week long workshops. I think he might even have some longer than that, but he measures. And so in his meditative practices, he's getting you to cultivate these emotions in your body that's changing your vibration. It's changing the frequency of your on. So it's literally changing you at a cellular level. And that's how people are healing themselves. I mean, cancer, people who are like paralysis, people are paralyzed, people have like chronic disease, terminal disease, all these things, because it all starts with that vibration, that frequency that you're on, that emotional frequency affects how your cells are interacting in your body. It's crazy. So when I first started diving into this, I I could see this in myself, and I could see some of these things showing up in my life. Like, me and my husband talk about this all the time. This happens almost every time we travel anywhere. And actually, funny thing, I'm talking about Joe Dispenza. This happened at a Joe Dispenza workshop we went to. When we travel, this isn't to sound braggadocious. It just is what it happens. Whenever we travel, and it has happened, we're not traveling, we're just out like on a date night or a day date or something. um, we always get stuff for free. Like we'll go to a restaurant, and whenever we're traveling, we typically if we go to like we like to bounce around to different restaurants and eat different things at different places. And usually we'll just sit at the bar because it's quicker and it's easier. My husband is really good at talking to people. He's just very outgoing. And it's two nice people. My husband and I we're nice people, and talking, make a friend with a waitress or a waiter or a bartender, whatever. We get free stuff like every time. Free food, free appetizer, free drink, free whatever. It happens all the time. We were at the Joe Dispenza workshop, and this actually has happened, I want to say 3 different times. But we were at the Joe Dispenza workshop, and we're in this, really high, we're feeling great, we're loving that, we're listening to Dr. Dispenza. We end up meeting him like face to face in person, which is not an easy thing to do because he's very like on the stage, and he's off and he's, doing his thing. And my husband gets called up on the stage to like help with this demonstration he was doing. We like met the man, took a picture with him, shook his hand, had a conversation with him. Crazy. We didn't even have to pay for the meet and greet thing. You have like a meet and greet, you pay extra for. We didn't even have to do that. We went to this conference oh, I know, we were at this conference in Vegas. All these things are coming back. We were in this conference in Vegas, and I can't remember the name of the conference, but Dave Meltzer, if you don't know who Dave Meltzer is, you should follow him, read his books. He's amazing. But he was somebody that my husband he just really liked. He's been reading his books. He's been like kind of studying, his work and stuff. He's a great guy, business guy. Anyway, again, didn't do the meet and greet, didn't pay for the meet and greet. You could have paid extra for that. We met him just walking through, like, I think we were leaving the hotel to go eat somewhere, saw him, sat down. He invited us to have a drink with him and his wife. We sat there. So I'm saying my whole point in sharing all these random stories is like attracts like, and gratitude and these high vibrational emotions, things start lining up. Things align when these things happen. And so when you are intentional about positive energy, and this isn't like a fake positivity, like you've heard the term toxic positivity before. It's not trying to convince yourself that you're positive or convince yourself that you're happy. It's really feeling those emotions. Things start to happen. Things start to line up. Crazy things can happen. I mean, you have probably experienced some synchronistic things in your life, and it's when you have been able to line up your emotional state with what it is that you're asking for. You know, those were really random stories, but I felt like it was it was relevant to share. So if everything is energy and emotions have frequencies, how does this actually impact our day-to-day lives? So I want to first mention the law of attraction. And I've had a couple guests, or maybe one, maybe two, talk about the law of attraction. And you're probably familiar with it, right? What I just said, actually, that like attracts like, right? Your thoughts and emotions emit this energetic frequency, and the quantum field mirrors that frequency back to you in the form of experiences, people, and opportunities. And all of those little stories that I just shared with you, all of that for me and how I experience it, this is a law of attraction. I would have loved to meet Joe Dispenza. I never thought it would have been possible to shake his hand and sit down with him and have a conversation with him and take a picture. Like, I never thought that would have been possible. Same with like all of these things that happen. It's like attracts like. It's you emitting this energetic frequency, gratitude, love, joy, like those high frequency emotions. And then the quantum field mirrors that back to you in the form of experiences, people, and opportunities. So, for those of you who might still feel skeptical about this, remember that everything is measurable and you Dr. Joe Dispenza, he measures these things. Like he measured the waves, right? And he can measure, he talks about this in his books to how the scans work. He can measure brain scans and he can look on a brain scan and see when a person is feeling that like gratitude. And especially like he wants people to get into this state where they're in this meditative state, feeling this oneness, like this oneness with the creator. And that's how you feel that like ultimate euphoric feeling of gratitude. He can measure that on a brain scan. So remember, energy is measurable. We can measure energy. You can measure the electromagnetic field that is coming, emitting off of your body. You're constantly emitting signals. And your brain's reticular activating system is programmed to find what matches those signals, right? Reticular activating system is you see what you're thinking about, right? You're seeing it. Like you've been looking for a red car and that the specific car you want, you've been thinking about, that's when you want, all of a sudden you're seeing it everywhere. That's your reticular activating system. So you're going to see what you're thinking about, right? It's going to match those signals. So think about it like you might have heard this metaphor before, but I think it's important to bring out. But think about your energy like a radio station. So if you're broadcasting on the frequency of fear and doubt and shame, remember shame I said was like really low on that emotional vibration frequency scale, then you're going to tune into more of that. You're going to attract more of that. So if you're constantly moving, making decisions from a place of fear and doubt, you're going to attract more of the same. But if you shift to those emotions of gratitude and joy, you're going to have it be attracting experiences and opportunities that resonate at that higher frequency. And just think about that. You can think I can think of plenty of plenty of things. And if you think about the poop storms in your life where you feel like it was just one big poop storm, like one thing happened and then it was 28 things happened and then you're just in the middle of a big poop storm. That's how the poop storm happens, right? Something bad happens and then all of a sudden all you can feel is the fear and the doubt or the shame or the guilt or whatever those low vibration, those low frequency emotions are. And then you just attract more of it. And so then you're just like in this tsunami of a poop storm and things just keep happening, right? I can think of so many times in my life where that happened. And it's not until you're able to kind of pull yourselves out of the depths of those feelings, working through the fear and the doubt and the shame or the guilt, whatever it is, that you can really start to feel things kind of flow again, kind of get back into flow. And it's not a magic fix. It's not like flipping a switch. Unfortunately, it's not too bad that it's not. It does take work and intention of doing that, and it takes practice. It was a book or a podcast I was listening to a couple years ago talked about this, and in talking about gratitude like a muscle. Because a lot of times, especially when you've been in these lower frequency emotions for a long time, it's it's hard to pull yourself out of them. It's like the image of the crab. You've heard about the crab, like when a crab is in a bucket and or crabs, not like one crab, but multiple crabs are in a bucket. And when one crab starts to crawl out, the rest of them like pull it back down. It's like that. So there's so many compounded emotions when you've been in those low vibrational, low frequency emotions like fear and doubt and shame and anger and guilt, all of those things. And when those are compounded, all of those just kind of keep sucking you back into it. And so when we want to get out of that, gratitude, you have to work your gratitude muscle like a muscle you work on your body. Like if you want to get your biceps stronger, you got to work your biceps. You got want to get your legs stronger, you got to work your legs. If you want to build your gratitude muscle up stronger, you got to work it. So starting with simple gratitude, and it sounds, I don't know, for so many people, it sounds so like, "Bleh." Like, okay, I'll write what I'm grateful for, right? But if you can really be intentional about a gratitude practice, I'm getting ahead of myself because I'm going to talk about some practices here in a second. But if you can really get into the emotions around what you're actually grateful for, like this is the first step in shifting that vibrational frequency. So since I'm going here anyway, let's go on to what I wanted to talk about next. And this is about raising your energy vibrations, raising that frequency, what you can do. So I've talked about the science and how all of this impacts your energy and how that affects your reality, but I want to talk about how you can start doing this, starting to raise your vibrations, practices that you can do. Now, gratitude, like I said before, I'm going to say it again. Gratitude literally rewires your brain. So neuroscientists have found, and there are so many studies on this, y'all. You can go look it up. Consistent gratitude practices strengthens neural pathways, how your neurons speak to each other in your brain, associated with emotional regulation and happiness. Meaning, you can literally change your emotional state by gratitude practice. So, and this is what I mean by practicing your gratitude muscle, because you're not going to go straight from fear. And I guess I should say this too. So when you're looking at the little, like the emotional, gosh, I can't remember the name of it, that emotional scale that I talked about a second ago, you can go Google that. Like you could type in like emotional scale, but it looks like a little funnel, like an inverted funnel, and it has all the emotions and their frequency, right? You're not going to move from the bottom, from shame at the bottom and go all the way to joy at the top. It doesn't happen like that. You have to move yourself up each level before you can get to the top, right? You have to go to the next vibrational frequency and the next and the next and the next. So this is why it takes practice. And this is why I say starting with a simple gratitude practice can help get you there. And you may not be completely bought into it at first, but if you just start it, you can get yourself there. So if you start with just something simple, so maybe you start with just writing three things that you're grateful for every morning when you wake up, or maybe it's at night, maybe it's after you've gone through the day. I would probably recommend that one. I've had some of my clients do this before, and I didn't call it a gratitude practice, but they would write down three wins. What were three wins from today? Where most days, especially if you've been in that heavy frequencies for a long period of time, a lot of times you get to the end of the day and you're like, nothing good happened. This day sucked. Nothing good happened, right? But if you can really contemplate three wins, and one win, easy win, could be like, I I ate lunch today. There's a win, right? I I was able to take a breath. I did, I was able to take a deep breath today. I was like, it can be the most simple, mundane things, right? So if it's three wins, if that sounds better to you than writing three things you're grateful for, whatever, it doesn't matter. But starting here and focus on why you're grateful for those things and feel the emotions as you write. And that's what I was saying before. It's not just about like, oh, I'm grateful for my family. I'm grateful for the. Feel the emotions. Why are you grateful for your family? Maybe a win today was that you had a conversation with your kid, right? Okay, why are you grateful for that? Feel the feelings while you're writing, either if it's a win or what you're grateful for. Feel the feelings. Bring up, cultivate those emotions as you're writing it down. That's what allows your body to make a shift. That's what affects you at a cellular level when you can feel the emotions. Remember, emotions are energy in motion. So when we can feel emotions, those high vibrational emotions, you are literally impacting how energy is moving through your body. It's more powerful than you think. Okay, so gratitude practice. Next is meditation and visualization. I'm going to talk about meditation because I love it. Meditation quiets the mind, and visualization helps you align with your energy for what you want to create. And you can do these simultaneously. You can do like make that your meditation is doing a visualization, or doing a meditation where somebody's walking you through a visualization. I love to do those. So this is where the quantum field comes into play, because you're energetically rehearsing your desired reality. So say you want to accomplish something, you have this vision of something you're trying to accomplish. Getting into a meditative state and visualizing it. What's her name? There's a gal, Australian gal. She's the one who wrote The Secret and did the book, and then there's a movie. I can't remember her name. Anyway, she talks about mind movies, and that's what it is. You're playing a mind movie, right? So you're visualizing yourself in that. And Dr. Joe Dispenza actually talks about this too. There's a few people that talk about this concept, but it's visualizing and seeing it in with the mind movies. I cannot remember her name, but she talks about doing that as you go to bed, like as you're going to sleep, because then it goes into your subconscious. So while you're sleeping, your subconscious is still like toying around with it. So the visualization can be huge, or you can do that during meditation, right? So maybe you spend just 5 to 10 minutes a day. That's not too much to ask. Visualizing your ideal day or scenario or whatever it is you're working towards, as if it's already happened. Seeing yourself doing it or achieving it or accomplishing it or in it or whatever it is. And then again, focus on the emotions. Feel the emotions that you would want to feel in that reality. You've got to bring the emotions into it. That's how it soaks it all in. It's the emotions. Next, mindful consumption. Mindful consumption. Your energy is not just affected by your thoughts or your emotions, but it's also affected by what you're consuming. The news, social media, the people around you, all of that is affecting your energy. So, I have an episode about a digital detox, and I have this whole little workbook that walks you through it all. It's very helpful. So go back to my series Align and Refine in 2025. Around somewhere around episode like 250 or 260. Go look around there. And you could start there. So doing a digital detox. And I walk you through the how of that. So you don't have to do it all in like cold turkey if you don't want to. And use that time to do something different. Reading, walking in nature, journaling, meditating, right? But being mindful of what you're consuming. And then movement and breath work is the fourth one that I want to talk about. There's so much research on this too, y'all. Research shows that movement, like even just walking for 10 minutes a day, like a 10-minute walk, reduces stress and hormones and raises endorphins. Even just a 10-minute walk, y'all. I'm not saying you have to go do CrossFit for an hour. Like you could just go on a 10-minute walk or do some air squats or whatever. But moving your body impacts how your stress hormones are functioning in your body. Breath work, similarly, I'm going to have a whole episode on breath work. I know I've been mentioning it a lot lately just because I've been really getting into it with a mentor of mine, but this helps calm your nervous system and shift your energy really quick. And I mean, this can be completely transformational. So try just a simple breathwork exercise. The one that I usually recommend is box breathing. You just inhale for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 4, hold for 4. So just doing that, even just a few rounds through, or set a timer for like 5 minutes and do that for 5 minutes. So powerful. And this can instantly shift your energy and shift where you are. And that's really what it all is what is all about is shifting your energy, right? And that's what these practices are about. It's just getting you out of that stuck state that you're in and getting you into a different state. That's how you make things happen for yourself. And that's what I mean when I said at the beginning, where you are the creator of your life. Like you are not a passive bystander. You are able to create it. And it all starts with your energy. So we covered a lot today in a very short amount of time. We talked about the science behind the quantum field and how your vibration shapes your reality. We talked about practical ways to raise your vibration and things that you can do now to change your vibration. And I just want you to remember this. Your thoughts and your emotions are like little energetic seeds. What you plant and nurture determines what's going to grow in your life. And that's where it all starts. It all starts with your thoughts and your emotions, right? We can't control our thoughts, but we can control where we go with them, right? We have, what is the number? It's millions, millions and millions of thoughts we have a day. We can't control all of those. They come in, they come out. It's crazy up there. It's just like a zoo up in our mind. But we can control where we go with those thoughts. And that's the thing. It's only when we attach an emotion to that thought that we get sucked into the thought. I've talked about this before in a previous episode. It's only when we get attach an emotion to that thought, we get sucked into the thought. And that's what sucks us down that emotional frequency ladder that I was talking about. That's what gets sucked down is we get sucked in. We have a thought, it becomes a story when we attach an emotion to it. If we can have a thought and be if we can be talking about passive bystander, if we can be a passive bystander with our thoughts, oh my gosh, complete game changer, right? It's only when we attach the emotion to it is when sucks us down that vibrational ladder. So remember, I want to say it again. What you plant and nurture determines what's going to grow in your life. It's these little energetic seeds that we're planting. We want to plant the seeds of love and gratitude and joy and fulfillment and excitement. And right, those are all the ones we want to plant. So I hope this helps. I hope this gives you a little bit more insight into the quantum field and what I talk about when I talk about quantum healing. I talk about, I have that all over my Instagram. So when I talk about it, it's all about the energy, right? It's all about the energy and how the energy is affecting us on a physical level. And I hope that this resonates with you. I hope that you can take some of these techniques and just try it on for the week. Just try even just one of them. Try it on now. And if buying into the whole gratitude things feels like ugh, then start with like the three wins for the day, right? Start there and really feel into the emotions of those three wins and let that build. And I would love to know how this shifts your energy. Like I always say, you can leave a comment here if you're watching this on YouTube, or you can send me a message, tag me on social media, send me a message, an email, and I'd love to hear your story. And just remember that your energy is really, I believe your energy is the most powerful tool that you have. And you can use it intentionally for good, and you can watch how your reality transforms. So I hope this is helpful, and I'll see you next time.